Orleans Saints, with the pick in, can change their history for a long time.
With the second choice in the 2006 NFL Draft, the New Orleans Saints select Reggie Bush, running back, USC.
A moment almost unimaginable is here. The Saints back in New Orleans, back in the Superdome. Look out, right through, a kick up, it is scooped and scored, touchdown, New Orleans.
From rags to riches on the football field, 3-13 to 10-6, representing a city that's hopefully going from rags to riches itself.
Handed off inside to Bush, nothing there, comes to the near sideline, inside the 5, diving for the pylon, he's in! Destiny's darlings are still alive, and New Orleans, let the party begin.
It simply was one of the most uplifting stories in football this or any other year, and it went beyond football. A city, we all know what happened with Katrina, and then the Saints just uplifting those. So many had moved out or had to make temporary homes elsewhere, and those that remained, they flocked back to the Superdome. We were there that night. The nation saw it, and then to turn a team into a 10-6 with that excitement and the way they scored the points, and Breeze playing and Bush running, and Colston catching when they got in the 7th round, and then going up into beating Philadelphia in a wild playoff game, going into Chicago before they finally ended the season. It was a season that will be talked about forever. Pretty good first year for head coach Sean Payton, I would say.
You're not used to the Saints picking in this spot, and I think Sean Payton wants to make sure he stays in this spot in the first round and doesn't drop next year. So this pick very important.
But to do that, they're going to have to get their defense going. Yeah, they got a lot of offensive weapons, but they've got to get their defense going. Whether that's a linebacker, whether that's a defensive back. We've talked about some guys. We talked about Chris Houston of Arkansas possibly here. Or if they go offense and get another weapon, who do you think they would get if they actually went offense?
Well, you would have to think tight end Greg Olsen. They had Eric Johnson do a one-year deal, but I think you look at the tight end spot. You also look at the linebacker spot in the secondary at the cornerback position. So I think Chris Houston's name would come up. Greg Olsen, Paul Plus-Lusney from Penn State is still here at this stage of the first round. So the way it's falling right now, some of their needs can be addressed.
Even though their offense scored a lot of points, and that would be 413 points. Would they take a guy like Ben Grubbs, who you had on your board as a high...
Good football player. He's one of the best pure football players on the board. And the reason why he hasn't gone already is because he's a pure guard. He doesn't have the versatility to play tackle. Those versatile guys tend to go a little higher. Ben Grubbs is a guard. And that right now, he is one of the top 15 to 17 players still available.
You know, let's look back also what Drew Brees did. He went in, and you remember that Miami, well, you can't play the physical. He went in to play New Orleans. I'm going to live in the city. So not only was he a symbol of the Saints going from 3-13 to 10-6, he was a symbol of the resurgence of the city. I don't think you can overlook what Drew Brees did.
He's a perfect example of resurgence for that city because he'd already resurgenced his own career while he was in San Diego. It was on the bubble there the year before, and during that offseason, he went in, and we talk about aptitude, that ability to go in and dive in deep into football. He studied, put his body in shape, and played great football the year before he was let go and gone to New Orleans. He came to New Orleans with the right attitude, and he is one of the top 3 or 4 quarterbacks in this league because he is so accurate and he has great leadership and that aptitude issue. I think that Drew Brees is going to be around for a long time and be a Pro Bowler, and I think he's got the perfect marriage with this coach now, and that city loves him. That is a love affair that will go on for quite a while.
You know what? It's going to be a fun game. It's the Saints, I believe their first home game this year was as if we had last year on that Monday night when they were 2-0 and they played 2-0 Atlanta, and you saw Gleason with the block hip punt. That it was great. This year, the opening game of the Saints at home is another Monday nighter. Vince Young in Tennessee and Reggie Bush and New Orleans. It's been Baylor, first round pick from Baylor since Ron Woodson went in '87. Now, the New Orleans Saints, Final Four team, have made their selection. The commissioner.
With the 27th pick in the 2007 NFL Draft, the New Orleans Saints select Robert Meachem, wide receiver, Tennessee.
Wow.
Well, I said John Gruden.
Wow. Sean Payton.
Sean Payton, he likes offense.
Wow.
Firepower. They lost Joe Horn.
I understand that. And they like Joe, but he wasn't healthy enough. And now they get Colston in the 7th round last year.
3 receiver, wide receiver sets, 3 receivers out there.
Bush.
A lot of weapons, a lot of toys.
Breeze, and now Meachem.
Big wide receiver, boom, 6'2", 215. He talked about the ability this year that he showed with Eric Ainge at quarterback. Put up big numbers. Areas against Chris Houston. Houston in coverage. Meachem with the touchdown. And if you look at a guy that played well in the big games, this is early in the season against Cal. Yards after the catch. He was huge in that game. Big all season in terms of average per catch. Catches 71 receptions. Did something that he didn't do the year before, which is have a lot of productivity because the quarterback situation at Tennessee was just not very good. When it got to the point where Eric Ainge was in there solidly at the quarterback spot, Robert Meachem emerged as a big-time player and certainly a prospect that a lot of teams in the middle of the first round on have had their eye on.
You know, and in this division, I think that you think about offensively, they're going to put some points up. And in this division, if you score 28 points, you're going to go undefeated in the division in many cases. So I think that they're saying to themselves that they could go a lot of different ways here, but this guarantees them that they're going to be one of the more dynamic top 5 offenses in the league.
And now with Meachem going, along with Harrell, that gives a pair of balls that were selected. Miami has a pair of players. They always have first-round players selected. But wait, as they say on